Hey, I'm Holly, and this one's to listen to. We're celebrating some of the brilliant black authors who have written unforgettable fiction books. We're starting with Queenie by Candice Carty-Williams. This is a coming-of-age story for your 20s and 30s, and protagonist Queenie is someone you can definitely enjoy spending some time with. Friends, family, work, boyfriends, and more feed into this relatable story.
Your generation don't believe in anything, my aunt told me. But listen to what I'm telling you. It's for your own good. Gemini men, they are takers. They will take every single thing from you and they will drain you. They will never give to you ever because it's not about you, it's always about them.
Next is The Book of Echoes by Rosanna Amaka, read by the incredible Worocheopia. The story covers the power of ancestry and is described by reviewers as beautiful story, captivating and just brilliant.
Uzo, my firstborn, was a round and healthy baby who giggled when I tickled him under his chin. Eze, my husband, was proud. We were happy in our small village, surrounded by the lush green bush which shaded us from the African sun. We woke to the sound of the cockerel, and each morning I rose from the mat where we lay to clang my pot on top of an open fire and fetch water from the stream.
Now we have Love After Love by Ingrid Persaud. I challenge you not to fall in love with the beautiful cover on this one. I know, don't judge a book by its cover, but with this one you'd be justified in thinking it's great. It's a family saga set in Trinidad, which is beautifully narrated by the author. Reviewers have commented how transported they were by listening and how well they got to know the characters.
Water lock-off since last night. Not a word on the TV or radio about when it's coming back. A lady in the school office was saying how in Gasparillo they haven't had water for a week. What to do? Pay the water truck $300 to get a full water tank, assuming the water truck even passing your house. I'm not wasting the 3 buckets I managed to fill up. Half a bucket is all I need to rinse my skin.
Our next story spans 3 continents and 7 generations. It's Homegoing by Yaa Gyasi. It's based on 2 sisters, Effia and Essie. One is sold into slavery and the other is a slave trader's wife. And it's about how their fates are felt generations later.
Tansy enjoyed the sound of her own voice. She pulled Essie's head into her lap and began playing with her hair, pulling at the strands that had been caked with dust. So brittle that they could be broken. Each one snapped like a twig. "Do you know the story of the kente cloth?" Tansy asked. Essie had heard it numerous times before, twice from Tansy herself, but she shook her head.
Next up, it's Half a World Away by Mike Gale. I'm pretty sure my mum is on her 3rd or 4th read of this, so I've let her describe it. This is what she said. "My favourite book. Love its message of how barriers of different upbringings can be bridged. It gives stress to how family support is so good in creating our foundations of self despite our origins of birth. In parts it's a tearjerker with the overpowering sense of leaving you with hope." So there you go. Mike also has loads of other great books to listen to and read once you've fallen in love with this one.
Like most women, and in all the years I've been doing the job, I've yet to meet a single man doing this, I got into the cleaning game because I could fit it around childcare. Being a single mum with a young child made it virtually impossible for me to go out to work. But I told myself that as soon as my Kian was old enough to start nursery, I'd look for something.
Now an American classic. Their Eyes Were Watching God is a novel from 1937 by Zora Neale Hurston. It follows Janie Crawford, a southern black woman in the 30s, through her journey from being a free-spirited girl to an independent woman. It's an amazingly drawn feminist image of the time.
Ships at a distance have every man's wish on board. For some they come in with the tide. For others, they sail forever on the horizon, never out of sight, never landing, until the watcher turns his eyes away in resignation, his dreams mocked to death by time. That is the life of men. Now, women forget all those things they don't want to remember, and remember everything they don't want to forget. The dream is the truth.
This next audiobook, Small Island by Andrea Levy, is so well rated on the Audible site. It's so nearly 5 stars across the board. It's set post-World War II and looks at the treatment of Jamaicans in England in a beautifully unfolding story. And it's really well read by the author.
The sound of my father's name could still hush a room long after he had left Savannah Lamar. Every generation in our district knew my father and his work overseas as a government man. His picture was pinned to parish walls, cut from the newspapers of America, Canada and England.
Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo is technically categorised as young adult fiction. But let's be honest, a book being accessible for younger audiences doesn't mean we can't all love it. It's about 2 girls who learn that they're sisters when their father dies. A story full of grief and love.
Thea is the single love of my life. The woman I want to one day be, all raised eyebrows and calloused hands, a hairy upper lip stretched over a mouth that has seen death and illness and hurt, but never forgets how to smile or tell a dirty joke. Because of her, I too have known death, and illness, and life, and healing, and I've watched Thea's every move until I could read the Morse code of sweat beads on her forehead. So when I say I want to be a doctor, I know exactly what that means.
This next recommendation, The Colour Purple, has got a brand new version in audio narrated by Samira Wiley. Author Alice Walker wrote the book in 1982 and won the Pulitzer Prize for Fiction with it and the National Book Award in 1983. The book inspired an Academy Award-nominated film, and reviewers on this audio version seem to have taken to chanting Samira's name in honour of how much she makes this book come alive.
Dear God, he beat me today 'cause he say I winked at a boy in church. I may have got something in my eye, but I didn't wink. I don't even look at men's, that's the truth. I look at women, though, 'cause I'm not scared of them. Maybe 'cause my mama cussed me, you think I kept mad at her, but I ain't. I felt sorry for Mama. Trying to believe his story killed her.
And finally, we have The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. This book looks at passing and privilege within a race based on the lightness of skin. As well as that, it covers some American history and delves into family relationships.
It was a strange town. Mallard, named after the ring-necked ducks living in the rice fields and marshes. A town that, like any other, was more idea than place. The idea arrived to Alphonse de Cure in 1848, as he stood in the sugarcane fields he'd inherited from the father who'd once owned him.
I hope some of those recommendations took your fancy. And look, this is only a small selection, so share your love for fiction favourites by Black authors in the comments. I mean, I haven't even mentioned Zadie Smith. Go read anything by her. And hopefully this list will get even more impossible to narrow down as the publishing industry wakes up to the great Black writers out there. For more recommendations and audio fun, hit subscribe. Thanks for watching.